Around the world, no matter where you go, there's nothing unusual about growing up with a love for horses. First domesticated some 6,000 years ago in Central Asia, over the next 2 millennia their partnership with humans spread from Great Britain to the Far East. And although they were only brought to the Americas by the first Europeans, horses may not be tied as inextricably to any culture more than the Americas. In the United States particularly, we cling tightly to a cowboy heritage that is riddled with as much myth, legend, and poetry as it is with fact and reality. I was lucky enough to grow up with horses. My dad was a pharmacist, but he owned a string of standardbreds, and some of my earliest memories are of sleeping in the barns behind Northville Downs, watching the trotters and pacers there, and in Windsor and Detroit racecourses in the early 1960s. We owned a Shetland pony named Nugget when I was in elementary school, and when I turned 10 and we moved to northern Michigan, I was thrilled with a fat little Welsh pony named Sparky. I joined the Durango's 4-H Club, where we went on overnight trail rides, competed in show and speed events like pole bending and barrel racing, and the highlight of our year was the Iosco County Fair, where we lived with the horses for 4 days every summer. Much of my love of reading today owes its beginnings to the works of Walter Farley and Marguerite Henry, whose books kept me on horseback in my imagination whenever I couldn't be there in reality. Horses were such an integral part of our lives that 2 of my sisters went on to make their livelihoods working with the thoroughbred industry in Lexington, Kentucky. Living in Southern California today, it's one of my biggest frustrations that I can't afford to give that kind of lifestyle to my daughters. But at least a taste of it is still within reach, at the end of Beechwood Boulevard in the Hollywood Hills of all places, at a place called Sunset Ranch. For 1 to 4 hours, you can take a guided ride through beautiful Griffith Park, where last week Mickey and I got atop an Appaloosa named Chief and a quarter horse named Molly. And even though it's all done at an easy walking pace, there's still something thrilling about feeling the strength of 1,000 pounds of animal willing to carry you over miles of hilly terrain. You're at once near the ground, yet somehow close to the sky. You feel connected to the earth. You feel connections with traditions and heritage of the past. Your guide points out details of the environment's flora and fauna, along with anecdotes of the film and television history of the area. You see where the original Batcave was set in a hillside, where countless Western movies were shot in the past, and hear stories of films shot in the area recently. You share the trail with hikers eager for a view of the famous Hollywood sign, and learn about that, too, how each 4-story tall letter is owned by a different celebrity, that the wood letters that originally spelled Hollywoodland as a real estate promotion have all been replaced with steel, and that when first installed, they were lit up by 4,000 electric lights. Sure, you could learn all of this on the internet, but it's a lot more fun getting up close and personal. Recently, in discussions on YouTube at What I'm Doing Right Now, Michael Aranda's channel, I've not been shy about expressing my objections to the sport of rodeo. I view most of the events to be outdated traditions of cruelty to animals done merely for misguided entertainment, and while I respect the skill and bravery of the participants, I just as soon it all be relegated to the dustbin of the past. But I'm not an anthropomorphizing vegetarian either, and I enjoy and feel comfortable with what some see as the exploitation of domesticated creatures, despite their wild, untamed origins. I believe that if you treat them with love, patience, and kindness, all manner of animals may come to gladly serve humans in kind. For her part, despite a touch of greenhorn saddle soreness at the end of our time on the trails, I know Mickey already felt a growing affection for Chief, and if we could go back to see him every day, she'd be ready to go. How about you? Do you have horses in your blood, if only in your dreams? Share your thoughts with me down in the comments. Don't forget to be awesome, and I'll talk to you again, soon, hopefully.